Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's hashtag time for art. Livestream Hop. Good morning. Hi, Linda. I love your smiley face. Hi, Arlene. Good morning. Well, this is our every month Livestream Hop. We're going to be hopping through to, I believe there are 11 of us today. We're calling it a split hop. And there is a schedule on my community tab and on Aunt Beck's Creations community tab. And I believe it's in Bibbsville. Oh, I did not put I don't know if I can get into my live control room. Let's see. Can I get into the live from here? I don't want to try it. I will after the stream. I will put the schedule. I forgot. I have it in my clipboard. I forgot to put it in my description box. But after the stream, when it's processing, I will put the schedule in there. It is out on my community tab if you have access to that. So we have several. Well, I can show you here. Let's go to my community tab. Community tab right here. I'm kicking it off this morning. I'm going to show you some of my crayon techniques. I've been learning so much about coloring. Linda McAllister comes on after me. And then we have a guest this month is Janet Nash. We might try to get her as a regular. We'll see what she says. Lizzi Brewer and Kathy Bird for this morning. And then later this evening, I will kick it off with a short intro, just sort of what I'm doing now at 5 minutes until 6. And then Beth Schuler will come on, and Jersey Crafter, Ann Lahr, and Shelley Crafting Mamas, and Lori at Paint Girly, and Aunt Beck's Creations. And then I will come back on and close it out. So I have a great hop, everybody. So I have been playing with crayons. I've been playing with crayons. I have to laugh because Arlene said, Meri, you said you didn't like to color. You didn't like, well, and you know that's true. Let me go to my channel here. Got a pretty little ad on that one. Let's go and welcome everybody in here to my chat. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Hi, Kimberly. Let's go clear up to the top. Linda McAllister and Arlene and Nancy and Janet. Good morning, ladies. And Kushang. I can't pronounce your name correctly, but you've been in our streams before. Welcome, welcome. And Kimberly and Meljoy, good morning. Gail, good morning. Val, good morning, everybody. Pin, hi, Pin. Pin is Linda's friend. I believe Pin is from the UK. Welcome, Pin. Kimberly, Arlene, Terry. Hi, Terry. Barbara Chicken Pot Pie Society. Nashwa. Nashwa's in Egypt. Welcome, Nashwa. And Deborah Brown. Hi, Deborah. Good morning, ladies. Cindy. Good morning, Cindy. Cindy's over in Australia. Meljoy says she's eating her lunch. Meljoy, are you in the UK too? You must be, because you're having lunch at 6 o'clock in the morning. 6:30 in the morning. Arlene, Barbara, Terry. I'm just making sure I've welcomed everybody. There's Lynn, Lynn J. She says, morning, Meri and all. She's making her way into work. Lynn is a working lady, I'll tell you. Let's see. Who have I missed? Have I missed anybody? Remember, the pew pew sound effect. Q-Sean. And I think that you're in Finland. Is that correct? But you really like Japanese art, if I remember right from our prior conversations, but I could be wrong. Well, I made a list. I made a list. I have 15 different techniques. Now, I don't know if I'll get through all of them today, but we'll try. And I have an experiment that I want to try too. So I'm going to have to watch my time because we're only streaming for 30 minutes each. So I don't want to cut into Linda's time, who comes on after me. We made another list of what you can do with a crayon. And we came up, this was in one of my Friday night streams on the 21st of August. And we came up with 50 things that you can do with a crayon. Scratch art, color, melt and sprinkle bits in a base. That's interesting. I don't think I have that in my techniques. That's one I might want to try. I think Aunt Beck suggested that. I could be wrong. Lines of melted crayon, candle making, postcards, a resist for painting. There's just a lot of things. And of course, Dee Dee Willingham's favorite technique is keep a box of crayons just to smell the smell of crayons. I can't keep them that long anymore. Tombstone rubbings. That would be really appropriate for this time of year. I don't know if they'll let us go out and do rubbings in our cemetery. I'll have to check and see. That would be an interesting thing to do for a live stream, wouldn't it? I'm going to call the city and see if they'll let me do that. I'm going to check first because I don't want to get arrested. Have you ever seen our Harvard jail? Our Harvard jail is famous. You'll have to Google Harvard, Nebraska jail and read all about the history of our jailhouse. Color on the wall, if you're a 3-year-old, but 3-year-olds should not be watching this stream because the stream is for kids only. ATC backgrounds, iron on wax paper, make crayon paper, have a coloring contest. We might have to do that sometime too. Have a coloring contest. I'd have to be the judge, and I can't judge. I'd have to appoint a judge. Random.org would be my judge. Ukrainian Easter eggs. So there's a lot of things you can do with a crayon, but I'm going to go through some of mine. I don't know if I'll get to all of them. Let's just start out. Oh, I pulled the trim out of Penelope's perch here. Let's start out. I'm going to make this little book. I'm going to make this little book here of techniques. And I'll make it like tabs, sort of. And this is my box of crayons. When I melt my crayons, I take the papers off. And of course, things are already falling out, right? But I take the papers off. So I'll just pull some out that I already have papers off of here. And they seem to be mostly red and purple. So here's a blue one. Otherwise, you would see me sitting here pulling papers off of crayons. I'll just pull some out here. Don't you just love to look at what I have, Mom? Crayons. That's a pen. Shouldn't be in there. Let's take that out. I was looking for that the other day. All right, that's enough for now. So let's set my crayon box aside. And the first technique I'm going to show you, maybe I should zoom in a little here. But first, let's get out my finger protectors that Deborah Brown, bless her heart, sent to me. And I don't know what happened to my palette knife. All right, let's get those out. For the first one, I won't need a palette knife. I thought I had it over here. I move things around so much. I'm putting my book on my wastebasket. Here's my table. Maybe I'll put that palette knife in here. Well, I'm not going to go hunting for it. All right, the first one is very simple. It's just coloring. And we'll use this one that has, let's zoom in a little. Let's zoom in. Let's zoom in so you can see just a little better. Plus, one more plus. And maybe, well, let's leave it there. All right. So the first one is just normal coloring. And of course, I'm using yellow on a white paper. Just normal coloring. And you can color really light, you know, just as if you were younger. So just normal, as if you were coloring. That's one technique. And you don't have to do anything special to it. Just say you've got some items that you're coloring in. So that's one technique. And of course, I'm going kind of fast. You can be a lot more careful. Different things you can do, and you can blend. I think you can use mineral oil to blend with too if you want. I've noticed when I melt my crayons that there is a certain amount of, I believe there's an oil in it. I don't know for sure, but it will make my papers transparent. But you can mix and blend some of these colors. And of course, these are wax, so they are not going to, they will resist water. So you can't blend them with water, but you can melt them. So that's the first technique. First technique is just, I'm just going to put normal coloring. Normal coloring. What stopped me as I got older, of course, I used crayons when I was younger, but as I got older, I'm going, well, this is fun, but you know, the next technique. And I have my next technique is, of course, melted crayons. That's where I started having fun. Let's put my Deborah Brown finger guards on here because they got tired in my streams of seeing me burn my fingers. And I'm going to go through these kind of fast because I don't want to overstay my time here. So I'm not going to be chatting too much with you. I'll check after I get done here. I'll do a periodic check for questions. Now, melted crayons, you guys have seen me have all sorts of fun with this. And Penelope, I'm going to move Penelope or she's going to get knocked off on the floor if I don't move her. So, melting your crayons. And there are really two ways that you can do this. You can melt your crayon, hold the heat source. You can well, there are several ways you can do this, but you can put your heat source right up to your crayon and kind of let it drip down. That's fun. It has to get pretty wet, but look at that. That was a technique that I didn't have on my list. And as the heat gun blows it, it will kind of splatter. I have splatter on my list another way. But see how that melts? Now, if you're working with a smaller piece, say like this red one, and you want to melt it and say you don't have your finger guards on, you're going, uh-oh, I'm going to get hot fingers. Well, melt your paper. Just hold your heat gun up to your paper and get your paper. Don't burn the paper. You can burn this paper if you get it too hot. But just get it warm and then take your crayon and melt it that way. And see, that's pretty melted there. See, if I just rub it down here, this is an unmelted here. The unmelted crayon, I think, shows more space, more white space in there. You have to rub pretty hard to get it like the melted. The melted one blends the wax a lot more. So that's the second technique, is melted crayon. And you guys have seen me do this. And you can blend this way. I'll get into that. So melted, I'm going to put, that's the second technique. And the third one is, I put my, let's see, mixing. Gradation and mixing of a melted crayon. Let's do that maybe with this blue one. So we'll try to gradiate it. We'll make it really dark here. And then one way that I do that, and I need to find my palette knife. Here it is. Yay. One way you can get a gradation is just to pull that melted crayon down. Let's do that again here. So I have to stop and find my palette knife. So get a nice little piece of wax and then take your palette knife and just kind of swoosh it down and see how it gradiates. And that's kind of the technique of scraping too. So you can get a nice gradation in there. Like that. And now the other thing you can do is mix. So let's mix the yellow and the blue and see if we can't get a green here. So here's a pretty juicy blue, and let's put some yellow in it and see if I can't get a green. See how that's mixing? So I mixed the blue. We'll put a blue here and a yellow, which is turning green. Blue and yellow equal green. So this is color mixing with melted crayon and gradation somewhat in there just by scraping it down. Gradation. So those are some other techniques if you're playing with your crayons. And let's see. The next one I had was scraping. And I do this quite a bit when I do my postcards and my pet portraits. I do a lot of color scraping because that takes off that top layer of wax. This is a pretty purple here. So if you get if you're working along and you get colors here. Now I will say, see, I'm mixing that white with that violet. It's giving me a pretty lavender color. But let's put some yellow in there too. All right, I have a nice buildup of color here. And let's just say, oh, I want to send this as a postcard through the mail, but I have an awful lot of wax on that. And I don't want to send it through to the post office with all that wax because it might stick onto somebody else's mail. So you can take your palette knife and just scrape off that top layer of wax, and that'll leave the pigment, a thin layer of pigment on the bottom, and all your wax is over here. And I did that with, I haven't sent these postcards off yet, but I'm going to send this postcard to myself, and this has all that wax scraped off of it. And I don't think this will, if it gets hot, I don't think it'll stick to anyone's mail. I'm hoping it won't. We'll find out if it comes back to me. We will see. But that's my thought on that. So I'm going to put scraping. Let's get this. I put wax paper on my desktop because I don't want that wax to melt through to the bottom. I keep having to change my paper on the bottom because I do art. So scraping top wax layer. That's a technique. And also, one advantage of scraping that wax off is you can write on it. Pretty easy because you're not writing on the wax, you're writing on the pigment. So that's a technique. I'm going through these pretty fast. Splatter. Oh, splatter's fun. Now, I was able to do some splatter just heating up my crayon and letting it, it's more of a drip. We'll put drips and splatters. Just by heating the crayon and letting it drip down on the page like that. You can get some, I wouldn't call this drippage. We might try to drip it, let it drip, but this is more like drip drops. It's kind of dripping there just because I have my pages. But you have to be patient with this. I don't know if I can get any drippage. Yeah, I guess I can. So there's a little drippage going on there. One of them is. But then the other way you can splatter, and I'm going to use my jumbo crayon for that, is you get a nice puddle. And this will probably splatter off on the wax paper. Here, let's put a piece of paper under this just to protect the surrounding areas. Like this. Of course, this has to all wrinkle up while I'm live. That's the way it goes, Mary. That's the fun of live streaming. Okay, you get a nice juicy spot of colors and make it juicy. This is fun to do. Make it really juicy. And then you take your jumbo crayon. It works best with the jumbos, and just hit it. Just hit it like that. And look at that splatter. It looks like something hit the windshield, doesn't it? Let's put some sunshine in there. Let's put some sunshine in there with my yellow. Maybe we'll put a little blue in there. Maybe a poppy. Maybe that could be a poppy. So there is splatter. S-P-L-A-T-T-E-R. And drippage. D-R-I-P-P-A-G-E. So let's see what I've done here. I've done the normal coloring. I've done the blending. I've done the gradation. I've done the mixing and wax splatter. And I'm going to add drippage here too because we added that on the fly. Splatter. We've done wax scraping and stamping on it. This is fun to do. If you have, I did this on cards, and I actually sent those cards out, I believe. But let's take this. Was this the violet I was using? Let's try this violet. We might add a little. So put a layer of crayon down, get it nice and warm. And I'll have to have a pretty large area here. And we need it to be juicy. Let's see, because I'm going to scrape this. I'm going to scrape it down to get a light color. That might be a little dark. Let's do it with the yellow or a lighter color. Let's put this yellow on there, might work. Because I want to stamp on this. And I'm afraid my black ink won't show up. A lighter color ink might show up on that. Okay. Let's put this yellow on there. I'm working kind of fast because I want to get through as many of these techniques as I can, just to show you how much fun I've been having with my box of crayons. That paper's pretty hot. Okay, now let's kind of scrape some of that top wax off. You want to get your top layer of wax off as much as you can. That's kind of a fast trial here. Let's see. Let's try this blue on it. It might turn green on that yellow, but I'm going to stamp my dragonfly over that yellow. I don't think it'll show up very much on the violet. You want a light background. Or you might, if you have gold or a white, you might be able to stamp on that purple. Let's see how that shows up. And I'm trying to work fast here. Let's see what, I'm watching my time. I just got a few more minutes. So I will, when I come back later tonight, I'll finish the techniques. But there's stamping on crayon. So it's already 6:54. How did that go so fast? Stamping on crayon. So I only got about halfway through all my techniques. So if you come back tonight, I will finish up my techniques, and I will be the last one. It'll probably be pretty late, but some of you are late birds on Fridays. So we showed you stamping on crayons, drippage, splatter, writing on crayons. We showed you some of the gradation and scraping the wax down. Gradation and color mixing, just the melting. I showed the difference between the just regular coloring and a melted crayon, and then normal crayon. So I didn't get to my experiment. I'll have to do that tonight. So I want to look at chat quick here. I've got about 5 minutes to answer any questions or say good morning. Let's see. Let's go way down to the bottom. Hi, Suze. Candy says, I use regular seal wax for that, Barbara. That's something I want to talk about, is sealing the crayons. I've been experimenting with that, and to tell you the truth, there are some things I want to try clear gesso to seal it, but anything is going to have a melting point if you get it too hot. So if you're working with crayon, just be careful where you put your finished piece. We'll talk about that later. You were a latecomer this morning. Well, Laura, that's perfectly understandable. It's 6 o'clock in the morning. The hop keeps you hopping, doesn't it? Let's see. Were there any questions? Anne says, I love playing Scrabble with you, Lizzie. Oh, let's see. Time flies when you're having fun. It sure does. Hi, Carla, Kimberly, Janet. Let's see. Hilda says, hi, Mary. Barbara said, did you seal any of your pen pal letter envelopes? Oh, you could use it as a sealer. That type of a sealing, where you just put a piece of wax on there. But the only problem I would have with that, if you send it through the mail and it gets warm and it hooks onto another letter, you might have a problem there if you're sending it through the mail. If you're just trading and maybe put it in another envelope, or maybe put it in a clear envelope, a window envelope, something like that, to where you're protecting that wax seal, it might work better for you. So it is 6:57. I want to welcome everybody to the Hop and just have lots of fun. Linda McAllister is up next. Let's go get her. I have 2 minutes. She's probably getting ready about now. Let's go get her link and put it in here for those of you who may not know Linda. Let's go to my community tab, and we will just go to read more, and we're going to grab Linda's link. Linda McAllister, copy link, come down here to my chat and bop it in here and say, have a really Whoops, I got the whole thing. Well, I don't think it'll load. Oh, I got the wrong one. Hold on. Let me go get it again here. It should be there. Share. Copy link. Chat. Paste. There you go. There's Linda's channel. And Linda's going to be talking about acrylic paints. So have a great hop. I'll be joining in all day long, all morning long, and then we'll have a break in the afternoon and we'll start again later tonight. And I'll finish the rest of my melted crayon techniques. I'll be the very last one. Bye, everybody. Have a great day. Have a great weekend. Bye.